Right then, here we go, another Doctor Who review. Yes, that's right, for Series 13 we're reviewing all of the episodes, so subscribe. Got the cheeky plug. So yeah, let's review this week's episode, War of the Sontarans. Overall, yeah, pretty good. Probably an improvement on the first episode, I'd say. First of all, we've got to talk about them, the Sontarans. Now, if you didn't know, I've always been a massive fan of the Sontarans. You see, as a kid, I kind of grew up on their classic episodes, and then I really fell in love as like a young kid with the Series 4 two-parter. I've always loved it. I revisit it quite often, just from a point of nostalgia, because I used to find the Sontarans just such a fun character. I think when done right, they are a great villain, and they're used quite well here. Now looking at the Sontarans from, more of like an adult era, they are, cheesy fun. But that was actually put across here really well. It is really like how they've always been, but they're just translated really well here. It's just a lot of cheesy fun watching the Sontarans, and sometimes Doctor Who shouldn't be afraid of going a little bit camper sometimes. It's fun. I mean, yes, some people might not like the Sontarans this episode, because they are very camp, but if you don't, that's what the Sontarans are. That's very much in line with how they've been portrayed for, and I really enjoyed it. On a quick side note, I've always liked Dan Starkey as, he's done Sontarans and then as Strax. Here, it's a little bit distracting because in Series 4 episode, it works because we hadn't seen him as Strax. Now we've seen him as the funny Sontaran. When you hear that voice, it is a little bit distracting now. If I was also to make any other complaints about the Sontarans, it would be the fact they're dealt with really haphazardly. It kind of just happens. It's all kind of very easy and very over very quickly. Also, the ending bit with the General was very reminiscent of the Harriet Jones Sycorax bit, which is okay to retread old ground, but it's not really done very effectively. They don't really do much with it. In terms of other characters, I thought Mary Seacole was quite fun. They don't really do much with her character, but that's okay. She's a fun historical character. She's there, she's useful, I enjoyed her presence, and to be fair, if she came back at some point in the Flux story, I'd be quite happy with that. I think overall with this episode, I enjoyed it a little bit more than the first one, just because I felt this was more compact, it was more streamlined, and yes, it used some setup elements because it has an ongoing story to tell, but it just felt more like a compact story within itself. It was telling its own form of story. However, this series is starting to feel a bit oddly structured. It's almost trying to commit to telling this big 6-episode arc story, but then this episode, unless, it comes back in a different way, does feel like its own story. So I feel like they should have either stuck with episodic or maybe committed a little bit more to a serialised arc. I think that could have worked a little bit better. However, I don't want to complain too much because I quite enjoyed the actual episode itself. And in terms of, ongoing things throughout the season, like Swarm and Azure, is that how you say it? Who knows? They seem like quite cool characters, and they're good villains. I feel, quite intimidated by their presence. They do bad things, so I want to see them taken down. And I'm intrigued by the mystery that their presence is setting up. Now, one worry is they are talking about the planet Time, and obviously I feel like these characters are people we know before the whole, I'm worried this is going to become too Timeless Child, and I wasn't a fan of that arc, so if they continue to explore it, obviously they were going to have to, but it worries me. Because obviously on the one hand they've set it up, we kind of have to explore it, otherwise it was just completely irrelevant. But at the end of the day, I'm quite stuck because I didn't like that idea and I don't want to see it. So we'll have to see. I don't want to judge this specific series too hard on the choice, but that choice is being told in the ongoing Chris Chibnall story, so I do want to criticise it. I'm confused. So, overall about this episode, yes, my worries about the Timeless Child are still slightly hanging over it, and there are some niggly little problems, but overall, for the start of this series, what they're setting up, this is, turning out to be, this. If it's pulled off right, this could be Chris Chibnall's best addition to Doctor Who. However, if I'm completely honest, I have very little faith in him getting the landing right. And it really pains me to say that, but I don't have as much faith in him as I really want to. However, a fun episode. I do give this one props. I enjoyed the ride that I was on. As I said, I'm going to be reviewing more episodes in this very messy format. So, if you just want to subscribe, do it. And with that being said, have a lovely rest of your day. Have fun.